Bonjour, everyone. Hi, this is Neshi Lokat. Welcome to the Spiritual Roundtable, the weekly afternoon show all around the card draw for the group and the discussion, the spiritual conversation around that card draw. And so, welcome, everybody. Thank you for being with me today. Today is Wednesday, February 5th. And I have to tell you that it has been one of those days around here. It's been crazy busy, to the point that I had to double check to see if it was Monday. That's because you know how Mondays can be? It's Wednesday. We started out the day with Georgie going to puppy daycare, right? And that's his usual Wednesday now. And I get a telephone call from Doogie's Doogie's Daycare and Pet Spa, right? And it at about, I don't know, it must have been 7:30 or so, and saying that they were going to be closing at noon because they have most of their staff out with the flu. And so I went to go pick them up. I think I got them there. Went to go get them around 8:30. After all Mom's stuff was done, I ran to go get Georgie out of Doogie's, and it started from there. So I tell you what, I'm so glad to be here with you guys because we get to slow down just for a little bit, for an hour, and have a nice spiritual conversation. Wait till you see the cards that came today. Holy cow. Holy cow. Yeah, I was just looking to see who's in the house. Let's see. We have Violet's here. Hello, Violet. Good to have you here, lady. Let me tell you, the body butter, Violet has organic products. And I have some of her products here, and I've been testing them out because I love the body butter. Still my favorite. We're going to share more about that as soon as I get all of the text and everything I want to say about it. You know, I'm testing them out. How much fun is that? Hey, Christina's here too. Hello, Christina. It's good to have you in the house. And look who else is here. Judy's here too. Hey, Judy. It's good to have you here. I hope things are going well for you. And Stephanie's here too. Oh, really? Pulled death 2 days in a row. Card. She's talking about cards, tarot cards. Big changes. Yes, yes, and yes. I think that's a collective, right? As a collective. Hey, Andrea, good to have you here. So good. I love the flower. Thank you so much. So today, we're going to get to the cards because it has been, like I said, it's been a really busy day. And because I also took some calls, not just from friends, but from clients and people that I wouldn't normally do on Wednesdays, right? But there's so much change and so much shifting going on that it's got some people kind of on edge, and others it's got them in the celebration mode, and they just needed to say it to somebody, and I happen to be the somebody that they chose, which is yay. Good stuff too, right? All right. So, hey, Barbara, good to have you here, ladies. Good to have you. Can't wait to meet you in person in June. And hey, Rhoda Paul, I hope I pronounced your name right. Hello there. Good to have you here. So we're going to get started. I'm going to turn off the crawler because sometimes that kind of gets in the way of the cards, right? Yeah. So we're going to get started. For those who may not know, this is the deck that we're currently using. It's Sacred Spirit reading cards by Anna Stark and illustrated by Lewis Dyer. Both are which from the UK. Anna Stark is from Australia, or is it New Zealand? Double check. Make sure what I'm saying is right. And she's from New South Wales, Australia. Okay. So, it's kind of nice to be able to have a different perspective, a different worldview, right? And in messages. It helps us to broaden, to look at things from a broader stroke, and so not so much just from the upper Midwest from where I'm from, right? Yeah. All right. And wait till you see these cards. They're gorgeous, gorgeous cards. This is the back of the cards. Don't you just love that tree? Yeah. My favorite colors. All right. So we're going to get started. The very first card we have, wait till I show you this one. This one, number 35, spiritual evolution. Spiritual evolution. Right? And this is a brand new deck, literally. Just published at the end of 2019. I had it on order. It arrived, I think it was just like around Christmas time in December. Spiritual evolution, set your heart free. Set your heart free. Let's take a really good close look at the card. You know, facing the sunshine, right? Full sunshine. We have birds in the background. That one looks pretty big, so it's probably either an eagle or a condor, right? Spiritual evolution. Set your heart free. And if you notice, can you tell if that's a male or female, man or a woman? Can't really. At least I can't. So that also says something to us, doesn't it? Spiritual evolution. Set your heart free. And here's a question for all of you, right? Have you felt that you've been on a very big spiritual journey in the last, let's say, the last year, the last 6 months, right? Can you feel the energy, especially since October? I'd have to say that since October, the energy has been all about change, right? You know, and that's one of the constants that we live with, right? Is energy. Energy is constantly changing, constantly moving. It rarely does it stand still. It might seem like it stands still, but it's still moving, maybe moving really, really slowly. Um, and, you know, I've heard that from many, many people in this past year, in the past few months, that either they're just waiting because they can feel it. Something's going to change. Something big is coming, right? Or they're right in the middle of this huge change, and they're trying their very best to weather it, right? Because, you know, sometimes when change comes, sometimes it can be kind of uncomfortable, right? And I think that when we're going through a soul growth, when we're going through that evolution, the friction that's needed in order for that to occur sometimes can be very uncomfortable, especially if we have any resistance to it, right? And so with this card today, this morning, it certainly reminded me of that. And when I was looking at it, getting the feel for it, right, I realized at one point, yeah, it kind of looks like a guy. And then I realized, well, maybe not. It could be a woman. So it really is all about all of our energies shifting and changing, right? As we grow, as we evolve as a spirit, right? Yeah. So some people are answering me here. Let's see. Oh, Nathan. Oh, it's good to have you here. See you again. Thank you for coming and visiting with us, being a part of the conversation, right? Lisa's here too. Hello, good people, she says. Hello, Lisa. It's always good to have you in the house. Bobby's here too. Hello, Bobby. Good to have you here. It's good to have you back, lady. I know things have been changing for you guys, right? And Jen's here too. Hello, Jen. It's good to have you here. And Barbara is saying either. Yep, either or, right? Be man or a woman. And And also, some of if you guys were watching my show last night, we had a little glitchy in the studio when it comes to the comments. Right? It seems like it's really running slow. So slower than that 15 seconds that it does. And also, just to let you know, at the very end of my show last night, um, and my feed was kind of I don't want to call it glitchy, but it was different, right? Seconds. I'm telling you, seconds after we finished the show last night, I lost my internet. Now, I only lost it for like 10 minutes, and I don't even think it was that long. But I was being very grateful and very thankful to my spiritual team for holding it together for whatever that was until we were completely done with the show last night. Yeah, I was like, whew. And at least it didn't happen during the show, right? Yeah. All right. So I want to tell you a little bit about what the author has to say about this particular card. Spiritual evolution. It's the number 35 in the deck, which is an 8, right? And 8 is all about the flow of energy, that balance of giving and receiving. Some people would actually put the sign of infinity to that meaning, right? It says that expansion goes together with spiritual evolution. Without the process of expansion, one cannot evolve spiritually. Expanding the heart and mind allows you to live a more wholesome and loving life with compassion, tolerance, and acceptance. There's no denying that learning through life experience, good and bad experiences alike, encourages soul growth on a positive level. Right? I have to agree with that. You know, our soul growth is symbiotic. It's connected directly to change, right? To life lessons. And as we go through those life lessons, which are attached to our spiritual contract, what we're here to do, how our soul is here to experience and evolve, um, in that growth, in those life lessons, that's where we can get where it's painful emotionally, sometimes physically, right? And in my life, I've realized that it's that uncomfortableness is an equal degree to how much resistance I'm giving to that. That's change, right? If I'm in more of the flow with it and saying, okay, I don't quite understand this one, but let's see where it takes us, and being more in the flow, it's much easier and actually can be kind of fun, right? But when I have been in complete resistance and really digging in my heels and saying, no, I'm not doing that. I don't want to go there. I like my life the way it is. I don't want to change it. Oh my gosh. I took the harder path. Um, I still learned my life lesson. I still had those experiences, but in different degrees, right? And so that last one, I learned a lot about being in the flow. All right. So she goes on to say, is that seeking something better in the future requires a little faith in yourself. You can't always have everything straight away. Long lasting success takes time to build. I'm going to say that one again, okay, because I think it's a key to this. Seeking something better in the future requires a little faith in yourself. You can't always have everything straight away. Long lasting success takes time to build. It takes time to create it. And, here in our earthly plane, I think sometimes we get frustrated with that when we have to wait, right? Um, when we feel like we've been waiting for a really long time. In our society, we're so used to things happening really, really quickly, that drive through kind of stuff, right? And I just had this conversation this morning with a good friend of mine, is that when we put our intentions into motion, when we want to live our best life, when we want to use our gifts at 100%, right? Taking away any of the blocks and barriers to them. When we make that intention and we put the wheels in motion, spirit, our spiritual team, is working like crazy to put things together, to line things up, right? To bring it into the physical world, into that creation. Then it's up to us to ground it here, right, in the physical. But one of the things that occurs when it feels like we're waiting for a long time, right, is that the bigger the energy, the more we affect others, it takes more space. It takes more energy to pull all of the components together and to put the wheel in motion, right? Because we two-legged, sometimes we're only concerned with our own little space, right? And so many times, some people actually separate themselves from the greater world around us, right? And but it is the world around us that also needs to shift and change to accommodate what we are creating, right? So, for instance, let's say that you want to use your gifts and in the best way possible and as much as possible, right? And along comes with that may mean either a move to a different home or a change in career or something like that, right? And it takes a little time for that all to line up because we're affecting our family members, we're affecting our friends, we're affecting a lot of people, and also nature, right? So I know that we get frustrated, and I know that we kind of we start questioning, don't we? We start questioning about, am I on the right track? Is this really something I'm supposed to be doing? Because it's taking so long. Maybe I'm on the wrong path, and we start doubting, right? And even with that doubting, we tend to slow things down even more. Yeah, that manifesting can get kind of tricky, huh? All right, so I'm going to get caught up with you guys in the chat. And Violet saying, "Yep, yep," being on that soul growth, right? And so is Barbara saying, "Absolutely, yep." And Christina saying, "Absolutely." And hey, Cindy's here. Hi, Cindy. Good to have you here. Stephanie is saying the color is glitchy today. Your shirt keeps going from blue to purple. It's actually purple. It's actually purple. I know. It's the internet, really, or maybe it's that shifting from frequency to frequency. Let's call it that. Okay. Andrea says, it's been a bit difficult. As normally healthy person, have been having lots of weird health issues, but they say the greatest challenge bring the greatest gifts, right? And, it's through this show and through the cards. One of the things that I can't even tell you when it was. It was the Sacred Path deck, was it? I can't remember which cards it was, but there was one deck of cards that was, and it came up quite a bit, and that was, is what is your greatest fear? Because once you face your greatest fear, on the other side of your greatest fear is your greatest desire, right? And so, and it's very similar to what you're saying, Andrea, right? And I have to agree with you. Some of those physical things, because generally speaking, I am a physically healthy person, right? I hardly ever get sick. I hardly ever get headaches, right? I'm usually good to go. Since October deals with my sugar diabetes, which is finally evening out. I have a thing with my left shoulder, that an old injury. I'm telling you, old. I was like in 8th grade when I hurt my shoulder. And so, yeah, some of this stuff that I'm feeling like it's tying up loose ends, right? Working through those things that we might have decided not to address, but we need to do that now as we're going into this new year and this new decade, right? Yeah, I agree with you, Andrea. So much so. My hair too, from purple to blue, probably from black to blue, right? Yeah, Cindy said it often feels like you're speaking about me. Well, I kind of am, because we're the spiritual community, right? We recognize um, our journey together, don't you think? Um, because we've all experienced this in different degrees and different ways, but underneath it, at the very core of it, we're sharing something very similar, right? Very similar. Yeah. So let's finish up what the author has to say. All right. All right. So she's saying that evolving the spirit requires an individual to empty their spiritual backpack. We have to empty our spiritual backpack, all the stuff that we carry around with us, right? All right. So taking out and removing experiences that are holding you back in life, healing past issues, addressing karmic imbalances, and creating a balanced mind and body are all parts of the process. Evolving the spirit takes time. It's a gradual process in which you need to do the work on yourself to achieve long-lasting effects. So right now, forgiveness is required if you wish to move forward in life. Sometimes you must accept an apology, and you know you may never receive it. Okay, so here's that. We've talked about this before, about the forgiveness, right? It's forgiving others and forgiving ourselves. And it's also about how we receive, how we accept an apology. Because sometimes, somebody will apologize to us and we kind of brush it away. Oh, that's okay. Don't worry about it. It's all good. It's fine. Right? And so we kind of brush it away. Is that really receiving the apology? And what the author is saying was this one is that perhaps the apology isn't necessarily a verbal apology, right? And so it's also in the accepting of the nonverbal apology. In other words, it's someone else's behavior that could be the apology. So, and this one I had to sit with for a little bit this morning. And so for me, right, integrity means that our actions and our words are the same, right? That if you say one thing, your behavior supports that. Right? And so many times our behavior speaks louder than our words, don't you think? And so if you have somebody in your life that, you know, maybe hurt your feelings at one time, did something to you that they haven't apologized for yet, right? You may be waiting a whole lifetime to hear them say, I'm sorry. And yet, on the other hand, are they the person that will maybe send you an actual postal card in the mail, right? It's your birthday. Or maybe it comes through another family member or friend that they said something complimentary about you, right? They may not have said it directly to you, but it's gotten back to you. You know how that works. So, sometimes the apology comes in a nonverbal way. And so we also have to look at how do we accept that? How do we accept any apology? And then how do we accept the nonverbal apology? Right? Yeah, Because sometimes we, if we're waiting for the verbal one, it could take a whole lifetime for that to happen. All right. So remove any past emotional and physical ties that are no longer serving you in the here and now with love and gratitude. For that has brought you to this point in life where you are ready to change and let go of the past. Open your heart to your soul's calling. Your soul is calling you to be free. Doesn't that hit you in the solar plexus? Right? Right. Right in our power center. Right. So I'm going to say that again. Open your heart to your soul's calling. Your soul is calling you to be free. The affirmation is, as my love and experience grows, the consciousness of my spirit evolves. As my love and experience grows, the consciousness of my spirit evolves. Okay. Yeah, that's a good one. And the other thing that I've I don't noticed, and actually have said a few times out loud in the last couple of weeks, is that when we hear the phrase, it's not the destination, it's the journey that matters, right? That is so, so true. So true. But let's take that even a little bit further, okay? Is that every path that we decide to take leads to the same destination. So when we're in a quandary, when we're wondering, am I on the right path? Am I doing the right thing? Am I taking the path that's meant for my soul to take, right? All of that for me is yes. Doesn't matter which one you decide to take, as long as you take it and you put yourself 100% into it, right? Because some people like to take the fast lane, the commuter lane, and get to their destination as quickly as possible. And there's others who like to take the scenic route, right? And it could take them 2 or 3 times longer. All the twists and turns, and they stop at a little roadside stand, or they see this tiny little museum that they want to go and see what's in it, right? And so they take all these little side trips. As long as you're 100% in it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters the most is that you're using your gifts along the way. That's what matters. Right. And so every time we stop and we think, God, am I in the right place? Am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? The answer to that is yes. And if you don't like that path, you can choose a different one. Select differently, right? Right. Okay. Judy is saying, exactly. Sometimes it's so easy to say you're sorry and not really mean it. So actions always speak louder than words. That's been my experience, Judy. And Rochelle, hey, Rochelle. Hello, Rochelle. It's always good to have you here, lady. And Kimberly is saying, interesting conversation. Yes, actions always speak louder than words. They do sometimes come when we least expect it too. Yes. Yes. And when that does happen, I think it's always good just to pause for a moment and acknowledge that, right? Because for some people, when they actually put it into words, and their heartfelt words, sometimes it takes a lot of courage for them to do that, right? It takes a lot of energy for them to step outside of their comfort zone to do that. And those kind of apologies are, they're huge, right? Those move a lot of energy. It's the ones where they're kind of flippant that doesn't really doesn't move much. All right. Cindy Lynn saying, love that. Me too. Me too. Okay, so let's see. That's not Stephanie. So this could be Rob, maybe. I think it's Rob. And Cindy Lynn is saying, your clothes are changing from blue to purple every now and then. I know, right? I don't see it in the studio, but I've got my phone over to my right, and I can see it on my phone. And I don't know what that is. I don't know if it's my camera. I don't know if it's the internet. I don't know. It's kind of weird. Kind of cool weird. Andrea is saying, I found that losing my health brings a lot of fear. I have a lot that I still want to accomplish. It's given me a lot of insight for those that suffer. Yeah. Gives you a different perspective, right? And it also brings into focus what's really important to you, right? What's really important to you. And in some ways it helps to identify those things that aren't important so you can just let those go. Right? And where you're placing your energy right now is probably in doing whatever you can to be healthy again. And that's your focus, right? Yeah, there's a lot to learn from that. A lot. Yeah, Cindy's agreeing. Yep. That's a long word. Stephanie, could you also put in there, what does that mean? Okay, because in what language is that? Because some people might not know that. Um, well, hello, Annette. It's good to have you here. Good to have you here. I hope you're enjoying the conversation. Cindy says, I like it pretty cool. I know. I'm not doing anything, honestly. It's just the way it is. Andrew, oh my goodness, good to have you here, Guy. He says, hi, Neshi. This card is resonating me very strongly. You're welcome. You're welcome. I know, Andrew, I'm shuffling the cards this morning, and my intention is always I'm talking to my spiritual team, right? And I'm asking them to please show me what energy is flowing this week that's important for us to know about for our soul growth, and that we can share with others, and that for many will lead to clarity, an insightful moment for them, an aha moment, right? To connect some dots, to help us along our journey, our spiritual growth, right? And so I know when that one literally jumped out of the deck, and when I turned it over, it's like, holy smokes. Yep. Stephanie is saying, nope, it was me. I said, oh, okay. All right, good. Swapped out to find the correct spelling, and it put me in the Star Nations. Had to close. Well, you are Star Nations. You're in it. You're in it to win it, right? Stephanie, she's such a good soul, that lady is. Roberta said, great, agreed, serendipity today. Absolutely it is. That synchronicity stuff is something you know, to take into, right? Um, Ho'opono, Ho'oponopono, I don't know if I pronounced that right, is a Hawaiian practice of reconciliation and forgiveness. The Hawaiian word translates into English simply as correction, with the synonyms managed or supervised and the antonyms careless. Oh, I love that. All right, so it's practiced throughout the specific islands, including Hawaii, Samoa, Tahiti, and New Zealand. Traditional Ho'oponopono is practiced by indigenous Hawaiian healers, often with an extended family by a family member. There is also a New Age practice that goes by the same name. Well, thank you for that, Stephanie. See, I knew it was a lot bigger than that, and I knew it was Hawaiian, but I didn't know to what specific island. Right? So we're saying thank you for bringing that for us. Hi, Annette. I know. A lot of us do. And I hope that that's useful for you. Violet said it's good to have a confirmation for me and to keep going. That's for sure. Right? That's for sure. And I really liked the affirmation with this first card. Right? So I'm gonna say the affirmation again. As my love and experience grows, the consciousness of my spirit evolves. And I want to add this little piece in there too about the medicine wheel, the Native American medicine wheel. There's many beliefs around the medicine wheel and even the explanation of it. There's 366 or 67 federally recognized Native American nations in the United States, Turtle Island. Okay, and there's many more Native nations that are here that aren't recognized by the federal government, and each one has a variation of their belief and explanation about the medicine wheel. And so when I mention this, just realize that it is, number one, my interpretation and the interpretation of the medicine wheel that is found in my tribal nation. And even with that, within my own clan, within my own family. Okay. So we got to dial it in. So when there's two roads on the medicine wheel, and the medicine wheel is a template, an energetic map for our life here on Earth. Okay, and there's two roads. There's one road that goes from east to west, and that's known as the blue road or the black road. Okay, and we begin our life, our physical life, when we step onto the wheel. We're coming in from the east, and we're heading west. Okay. And the energy that we're coming into in the East is all about the spirit of air, our mental thoughts. Okay. And as we begin our earth walk, we're heading to the west, which is all about the spirit of water and emotion. And what all along that road is our life lessons. It's how our physical life unfolds. Okay. And everything that we're learning from it. And so it's along that blue road that we gain our wisdom. That's where our soul gains the wisdom through our life lessons. Okay. And yes, we do get tired. We get fatigued. And the place to go for respite is to the center. And that's where the creator resides. That's where the unified field is. Right. And so when we get tired, that's where we go to rest. We catch our breath. We're in that plateau. We're in that space that feels like limbo, sort of. We catch our breath, and then we start moving forward again. Okay. Now, this is all happening simultaneously. We take our wisdom that we've learned from those life lessons, and then we start walking the other road, which goes from the south to the north. And that's known as the good road, or some people might call it the good red road. Okay. And so we're taking all of the wisdom that we've gained, and we're walking from the south to the north, and that is to the community. It's going from our physical life to our spiritual life. And along that path is all the good deeds that we're doing, everything that we're doing to help someone else, right? We're utilizing our wisdom, utilizing our gifts to help someone else, to help our community, to help our relatives. So that's what this card reminds me of, is that walk that we're doing on the medicine wheel. Now, this is all happening this morning amongst the busyness of what I call my life here, right? All right. So we're going to move on to the next card because I see it's almost got not quite 20 minutes. All right. So Stephanie is saying, I'm sorry, please forgive me. Thank you. I love you. The basic translation I was given. But that means so much, doesn't it? Especially when it's heartfelt, when it's coming from your heart and your behavior backs that up, right? So thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that information. Cindy Lynn says, I've been having my aha moments this week. I feel like I've been asleep for over a year now, recovering, but I'm awake again. Cindy Lynn, you are not the only one. Really. I've had 2 calls this morning. Different people, they don't even know each other, sharing very similar, you know, life-changing insights that says, "Oh, that explains, and I feel like I'm moving forward," or something like that, right? So I don't know what it is about the energy in the last 4 days. This would be the 4th day. Because one of those people, she's been on my mind in and out of my thoughts for 3 days. And I heard from her this morning. Okay. So there's something about the energy in the last few days culminating to today, the energy that's flowing today. So I'm going to have to find out from Julie Hedges what's going on cosmically, right? So thanks for sharing that, Cindy Lynn. Barbara's saying, I often feel I am not conscious or aware of my spirit, but then some level I know my spirit is working, right? Yeah. And that has been another piece is that um, some people saying like they feel like they're not really present. And so they've been checking their grounding, not just once or twice a day, but all through the day because they feel like they're not really here. Right? And what I say to that, because I've heard so many stories over this past month or two, that I think that there's a lot of shifting going on, that we're changing our frequency. And our physical body is still in the old frequency, and our spirit, our soul, is in the new frequency. And so it's literally pulling ourselves together, pulling, getting our physical body acclimated to that higher frequency so we can learn how to hold it for longer periods of time in our physical body. That's my take on it. I don't know. It'd be nice to hear from the rest of you how you've been feeling about it. See, Rochelle says she's feeling the same way. Natalie, hello, Natalie. It's good to have you here. She says, yes, I'm down with cold and still feel driven this week. Right? I mean, you still have to put one foot in front of the other. The thing is that knowing when to say when to say, I need to take care of myself. I need to rest. And I did that a couple weeks ago. I hardly ever get colds, and my husband gave it to me. He loves me so much. But I hadn't been sick like in 3 years. And I had to tell my mom, I need to sleep. And so I set her up to be alone for like 3 or 4 hours. And I went back to bed and I slept for 4 hours. Had to kind of hit the wall. So I hear what you're saying, Natalie. And knowing the difference between that. And every time we get sick, something in our spirit, our soul, we're evolving and changing, and our physical body is catching up, right? Adjusting. Stephanie is saying, Deborah Clark Clemens comments are not showing up in the chat. Really? I wonder why that is. Yeah, because it's not showing up in the studio either. So thanks for letting me know, Stephanie. Yeah, Barbara's saying, sounds true. Lisa saying, I have had body aches of old this week. Dreams showed division between right and left brain. I feel the need to bring together. I'll wait till you see the next card. Here's the next card. Because we only have 2 cards today with the draw. This one is Sacred Divinity. It's number 30 in the deck. It says, honor your divinity. There are 2 paths ahead. Honor your divinity. There's 2 paths ahead. Now, look at this card. There is so much energy going on in this card, isn't there? Energy waves. We have this, I don't know, it looks like a duck or a goose here in this on the side. Lots of energy in this particular card. Right? Now, in the first card, we couldn't tell from the back of the image of the person whether that person was a male or a female, right? In this particular card, we certainly can. Divine feminine. An energy that everyone carries, and that sacredness, right? The sacred feminine, the sacred masculine. And there are so many birds in the background, isn't there? At least two that I see. And it kind of reminds me of fire, doesn't it? Flames. And with the sun in the background, and that the first card, the sun was the person was facing the sun, and in this card, the person is facing away from the sun. Yeah, it's a lot of energy. So this card is all about embracing your sacred divinity, is honoring the divine feminine and masculine that resides within you. Every person shares both aspects of this divinity. These are not stereotypical versions of what it means to be male or female. The divine feminine incorporates aspects of the unconditional love, compassion, and gentleness, but these are also qualities that the divine masculine hold as well. Right? And here's this. Both the divine masculine and divine feminine have those qualities, right? And it's not until it's expressed in the physical world and in that expression, right? And so many times when we're out of balance, when we're not in balance with our sacredness, right, that we experience our behavior and our thoughts as that duality, right? And here's what I mean. When you're in out of balance in your feminine energy, what happens, right? The stereotype emerges. The stereotype of being really overly emotional, right? The stereotype of being a female that is gossipy, catty, right? Likes to wear pink. It's all those stereotypes, right? And some of that is because we're out of balance with our sacred feminine. And when we're out of balance with our sacred masculine, and that's where you go from being assertive to being bossy and aggressive, right? That the shades of the compassion aren't even there sometimes. Or if they are, there's strings attached to them. And is that really compassion? That's when we're out of balance. And I think that when you're awake, spiritually awake on your path, we catch ourselves, right? And to me, that's growth. When you make the decision, like, oh man, this is really gossip, and I'm stepping out of this. I'm stepping out of this conversation. Have you ever done that? And everybody kind of looks at you, right? And you step away from it, right? Or you catch yourself thinking certain thoughts or judging others, right? When we do those kinds of things, that means that we're consciously awake and we can recognize that in ourselves, right? That we're not necessarily taking someone else to task over their stuff, but we recognize it in ourselves, and we're the only ones that we can do anything about it, right? And sometimes when we're out of balance in those, leads to or can lead to our physical illnesses. It's kind of like an ingredient to it, right? When we're out of balance. When we're out of balance, our chakras are out of balance. That affects our immune system. Sometimes it's because we need to slow down and we haven't listened to our bodies. And it's like, okay, you're not going to slow down. We're going to make you slow down. That's what usually happens to me. Right? So being aware of our divinity, our sacred masculine, and our sacred feminine within us. All right, so here's something else what the author says. She says, connecting to our divine self is to align with the divinity of source. Divine balance occurs when these dual aspects are in harmony within the body, resulting in a feeling of wholeness. Right? A feeling of wholeness. And I think that sometimes in that feeling of wholeness is when we actually feel like we're starting to move forward again, right? That we feel more present. I think that some of that has something to do with it too. All right. I'm going to get caught up with you guys in the chat again. I got to scroll up a little ways. Okay. So Marie is saying, yep, been having my entire body buzzing, not just my crown. Yeah. And so that really means that a lot of information is coming through, right? A big download. Natalie's saying, I took a nap. Yay. You probably felt a little bit better too, right? Lisa's saying, I've had body aches of old this week. Yep. Oh, and that's a left brain division. Yeah. Bringing it together. It's good. Barbara's saying, I feel like I am parts trying to find how they fit into me, sometimes observing out of body. Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes I think, Barb, the way it's feeling to me is that it's that vibrational thing, the frequency thing, that as we're growing, as our soul is evolving, right, in that expansion, that our physical body really needs to get caught up with it. And so I think that feels that way anyway, is that's what you're doing. Stephanie, everyone has been sick, so I binged watched 2 CD or dramas on Netflix. Apparently, I needed the info in the shows to make up the breakthrough I've been working through. Really? That's great. And when do you ever get time to binge watch anything? Right? Yeah, Spirit really gave you a gift on that one, huh? Lisa says, you are sloughing me right now. Slowing me. Oh my gosh. All right. Stephanie says, definitely been that kind of day. Signs in all directions. That's a fact. That's a fact. Bobby is saying, yes, been very conscious to keep well. Wow, energy pulsing like the heart. Yes, it is. These cards really have a lot of energy to them. Kimberly saying, yes, I've been doing that a lot. Hate, drama, and gossip, negative energy. Yes. And I've tried this before, you try to divert the conversation, talk about something else, right? Did you guys see blah, 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 or did you read blah, blah, blah? And they go back to the same gossip. It's like, okay, I tried. And now I'm exiting. And you let them know, it's like, I don't want to sit here and talk about her. You got something to say to her, say it to her face, not behind her back. Give her a little respect to yourself and to her, and then I exit. I haven't done that in a long time, but I have done it in the past. Natalie, definitely cattiness isn't healthy at all. No, it's not. It's not. And when we can recognize it, right, especially when we recognize it in ourselves, you think, wait a minute. And this is me, right? I'm talking to my team. Wait a minute. Let's delete that last thought and we'll flip it around to something a little bit more positive. What can we do? How can we put this in a positive way, right? Yeah, because usually it's more about us than it is about them. Yeah, because we can only keep track of our own side of the street, right? Clean it up. K-drama, Korean drama. Oh, I thought it was a typo. Lisa is saying, I've had frequencies coming more than normal this week. Yeah. Yep. And the two calls I took today, this morning, yeah, I'd have to agree with that. All right, let's finish this card up. The author says, right now, you're being asked to honor the sacred divinity that exists within you. Expressing the divine traits of creativity, expansion, gentleness, confidence, and strength is what is required now. Feel the beauty and love that is uniquely you and honor it. Give yourself a special gift to remind you of this inner journey and how much you care about your divine self and well-being. Connecting and creating a strong sisterhood or brotherhood is fantastic, but you must remember you radiate the energetic duality. If you find yourself ignoring or judging this side of yourself, ask yourself, what are you hiding? Identify these qualities without being judgmental and working on healing or balancing these aspects. So really it's about being honest with ourselves, right? And balancing, healing whatever needs to be healed so that we can balance those divine aspects of ourselves, right? The divine feminine, the divine masculine, so that we can stand not just in our own power, but when we're using our gifts, when we radiate, when we're expressing our soul from that place, people hear us, they feel us, right? And we get to help other people in the process because we're using our gifts, right? And notice they said that, to recognize it and to accept the gift and to do something for yourself that will remind you what it feels like to be in balance. And so when I first read that, I thought, oh, yay, we get to buy another stone or crystal. Good excuse, right? All right, so here's the affirmation. I honor and respect the sacred divinity that pulses through me. I honor and respect the sacred divinity that pulses through me. It's all about our soul growth, right? All right. So that when I show the two cards together, the best way that we've found to bring in as much of the information and energy for yourself is to take a big, deep breath in, right? Do the exhale, bringing yourself to the moment, being grounded, bringing your attention to your spiritual team, and asking them to help you to bring in the information that's meant for you in an optimal way, in the optimal amount, right? Okay, so here are the two cards together. Right? You got spiritual evolution, set your heart free, and sacred divinity. There are two paths ahead. The two paths are the sacred feminine, the sacred masculine. When they're balanced, when you feel whole, it becomes one path, right? And that second card supports the information from the first card. So when we feel ourselves in balance with our divinity, our sacredness, our soul evolution becomes a graceful, loving, compassionate path. right? Literally setting our hearts free. And for all of those that are feeling that shift and that change, literally pulling yourselves together, I really do feel like this card draw is all about that, right? So, if this conversation, the information coming through the cards, if it resonated with you, my suggestion is to embrace it. And then watch, sense, feel, see how the energy flows around you this week and where this information can be helpful, right? And if it didn't resonate with you, don't worry about it. Just let it go. There's always next week's cards, right? Or perhaps you're the messenger and you know somebody that would benefit from seeing this video. And you can just share the link with them, right? Yeah. And then you're done. So I wanted to share, I know we're at the top of the hour, but I wanted to share this with you. You know how excited I've been about a couple of things because I've shared it a few times, but I want to share it one more time. And that is this, right? A launch into the deep waters of manifesting. Now, these two cards actually support this a great deal because when we are in balance, we have a firmer foundation to manifest the life that we want to live. And this is our online bundled course about manifesting. And the four of us, Maureen, Ed Langdon, Polly Jo LeBay, and myself, we're going to be teaching this class. It kicks off next week on February 10th with Maureen. She is bringing in the aspect of the angels. And we kind of touched on that last night in my show last night about self-worth and worthiness. And that is the piece that Maureen is going to be bringing to us, the online class. It's a 90-minute class. You get 4 of those and for the price of 1. And so, I hope you guys can join us because these 4 classes are creating a really good foundation for you and understanding how we are such a powerful, creative being and how to use that energy, how to tap into that, right? And also identifying any of the blocks or barriers that you may have with, such as self-worth or worthiness, such as frustration with the law of attraction, right? Doing everything you can and still it's not manifesting kind of thing. In your inner child. Did you know that your inner child holds the wand, the magic to the manifesting? And Polly Jo is going to be talking about when our inner child is still wounded, when we're feeling unsafe, right? When we're feeling like that we need to hide. She's going to be addressing that. My class is remembering how to create. And that is that balance between the head and the heart and creating from that unified field, from the center of the medicine wheel. So I'm hoping you guys can join us with that. This is for Maureen. This is her client. Whoops. Oh my goodness. Let's get the clicks right. There we go. And so this is Maureen's class, and angelic assistance with manifesting, right? And if you want to get more information about it, you can go to our website for the Academy. And you can get some information there, more information about how to register. And what does that all mean? What does that entail, right? Yeah. There you go. It's good stuff. There. And we want to hide that too. Why won't that go away? Go away. All right. Let's try that again. Got to get the right one in there. Too many clicks. All right. I hope you guys can join us. We chose that manifesting because we realize between the 4 of us that we teach a lot about that. We talk a lot about that, about manifesting, and that we realize that we come at it from 4 different perspectives. And when you look at it from that direction, is that what helps us to give a really good foundation, right? And so I'm hoping you guys can join us. So, with that, please enjoy the rest of your Wednesday, and hopefully we'll see you back here for Polly Joe LeBay show, Soul Connections this evening at 7 p.m. And Bama Mina, you know what that means in Potawatomi. Until we see each other again. Love you guys.